Why don't we get started? We had an attendee, I see, who dropped off, and
Khalid, the floor is yours. Let's start then.
thank you.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah and good evening everyone. My name is Khalid Ishaq and I am pleased to welcome you all to the College of Law's online session of the Graduate Student Studies Open House at Hamad bin Khalifa University for the academic year 2025-2026. Our session today aims to connect you with myself and the faculty members to explore the unique academic and research opportunities at the College of Law and learn more about admissions requirements and student affairs. This session is set to include the following: the Provost message, Dean's welcome, college overview, introduction of faculty, academic program overview of a College of Law, like just as Juris Doctor, LLM degree, and SGD degree. Of course, also we'll talk about the contact information, admission requirement, student affair, question and answer session, and we'll end up with closing remarks. Before we begin, there are a few housekeeping rules. All lines to be muted, please. We will address as many questions as we can at the end of the event. We encourage you all to post your relevant questions in the Q&A tab at the lower side of the WebEx screen by clicking on the three dots as shown in the next slide. Please direct these questions to all panelists to ensure that your questions are visible to everyone. First, I would like to start the session by playing a welcome message from the University Provost, Dr. Ala Al-Fuqaha.
Dear prospective students, welcome to Hamad bin Khalifa University HBKU and congratulations for taking the first step in the pursuit of your graduate education journey. The Graduate Open House provides a great opportunity for you to get more information about the university and its academic program offerings. Also, it offers as an opportunity for you to interact with our faculty, researchers, and staff. If you choose to pursue your graduate education at HBKU, you will be empowered with the HBKU mindset. This unique mindset will provide you with ample opportunities to deepen your knowledge in your chosen field of interest, deepen your research and critical thinking abilities, and further develop your leadership, entrepreneurial, communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity skills. We wish you a productive experience at the Graduate Open House and welcome to HBKU.
I would like to thank Dr. Ala for this insightful message, which really represents what HBKU is all about and the College of Law in specific. Then I would like now to invite Dean Susan Karmanian, our Dean of the College of Law, to share a few words.
Thank you so much, Khalid. It's wonderful to see you, our SJD student and also a Juris Doctor graduate. As he mentioned, I'm Dean of the College of Law, and it gives me great pleasure to welcome each of you to our virtual open house. I think it's important for us to put the law in context. I always like to look at the local paper, and there could be local law, foreign law, international law events in the news daily. Indeed, if you go to today's peninsula, you'll see that the Qatar Financial Center Authority, the regulatory authority, entered into a settlement with a company as to allege false and misleading information about investments. You'll also see that the Emir of Qatar was in Costa Rica, and he bestowed an award on anti-corruption activists and scholars, including our own Professor Ilyas Bantikas. And there's another interesting story about illegal bird calling devices that the government seized in Qatar's wilderness. This is just a sample of the kind of issues that come up daily and why engagement with the law is important. Given Qatar's geographical location as a trading hub and the focus on sports, medicine, education and technology, energy, the environment and infrastructure, the legal issues are many, and at times they can be quite complex. In 2015, Hamad bin Khalifa University College of Law opened its doors under strategic partnership with Northwestern University Pritzker School of Law. We launched the 3-year Juris Doctor degree, a U.S.-style graduate degree in law designed for students who have at least one undergraduate degree. Our JD students have backgrounds in engineering, microbiology, foreign affairs, architecture, medicine, history, and the list goes on. We teach our students to identify and solve some of society's complex problems. You can't do that by memorizing. Instead, it's by developing analytical and communication skills. We use a comparative approach, drawing on the common law, civil law, Qatari law, and Sharia. In 2021, we launched 2 master's degrees, the LM degree in International Law and Foreign Affairs and the LM degree in International Economic and Business Law, areas of importance to Qatar. These degrees enable students to write a high-quality thesis in the subjects, as well take related courses. And in 2022, we launched the Doctor of Juridical Science, the first one in the MENA, which is a research doctoral degree. Through the SJD, we build a community of highly focused legal researchers who will reshape legal education in the Gulf through their own academic scholarship and their engagement in the legal community. We're very proud of our alumni. They've gone on to important positions in the Ministry of Commerce, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, including one of our graduates being named ambassadors of Qatar to Moldova. They work at Qatar Energy, Qatar Museums, private law firms. Others have pursued graduate degrees at Harvard Law School, Columbia Law School, Duke Law School, Georgetown, the University of Toronto, NYU, and other schools. In addition to academics, we have an engaging community with plenty of events, lectures, and conferences, opportunities for our students to participate in international moot courts or publish papers. Our faculty have degrees from Harvard, Yale, Oxford, Cambridge, and are conducting research in a variety of areas, including environmental law, the blockchain, AI and medicine, the law of war, and cultural heritage, just to name some. So we look forward to having you in our community and joining us on the journey to improving society through the rule of law. We have important relationships that are also listed here on the web, the website. We believe in partnerships. And these partnerships are key. They give students the opportunity for internships, but they also give students the opportunity to be able to meet experts in settings to discuss ideas and the like. Now, the hallmark of our faculty, or of the college, is our faculty. And I'd just like to take a minute to introduce the faculty. I can't do justice to the faculty in this short time, but I would encourage you, if you're interested in attending the law school, to spend some time on the website. We have faculty such as Ilias Bantikas, who works in international law. He is the one who the Emir gave the award to yesterday in San Jose. He's on his way back to Doha. He's published more than 20 books in international law. Professor Zachary Kalo works in sports law as well as in mediation and on law and religion. Professor Damalola Olawi holds the UNESCO Chair on Environmental Law and Sustainable Development, having worked in the energy sector, but also in the environmental law sector. Professor Dimitropoulos is our Associate Dean for Research and also the SJD Coordinator. He is unable to be with us this evening, but his material will be covered by one of my colleagues. but he works in the law and tech field as well as in the investment law. Professor Eleni Polymenopoulos works in art law, cultural heritage, and the important issue of human rights. I'm delighted that my colleague, Professor Hilary Bell, who's also the Assistant Dean for Student Affairs and the JD Coordinator, is with us this evening. She has been at the law school for a number of years, working closely with our students in the classroom and in legal research and writing and advocacy courses, but she's also the coach of our moot court competitions. We have a number of opportunities for our students to participate in moot courts, and Professor Bell has been at the helm. And in particular, we're delighted that in the last 2 or 3 years, we've had some critical victories. Also, we have Professor Barry Solomon, who is our Associate Dean for Academic Affairs, who works at the intersection of artificial intelligence and healthcare law, as well as constitutional law. Professor Kyle Yip, who is an expert in the law of war. So, for example, earlier this week, we had 2 experts that are focused on the issues in Gaza, including the UN Special Rapporteur on the right to food. And Professor Yip was able to monitor and contribute to that session. I'm delighted. Also joining on the call today is Dr. Fatima Adish, who is earned her degrees from the London School of Economics, and she is the program coordinator for the LLM in International Law and Foreign Affairs. She looks a lot at the issues concerning terrorism and the way states have responded to terrorism and the role of courts and perhaps pitting family members against each other and the like, path-breaking work that has earned her important honors. And we also have with us the LLM coordinator for the International Economic and Business Law, Dr. Kehinde Olowe, who is an expert in international commercial law, international trade law, and investment law. And she's spending time looking at the digitalization and the law and trade, but also she and I and a colleague, Professor Dimitropoulos, are working on issues concerning silicon chips, a very hot button issue for the world economy. And we're delighted that we have on our faculty Dr. Khalid El-Khoury, who earned his SJD in the United States at the University of Virginia. And Dr. El-Khoury is focused on legal professionalism, but also he's been spending more time looking at the role of AI in Qatar. As you can see, the faculty is outstanding. We have classes that are deliberately of a small size. You get a lot of individual attention in our community here, and we look forward to having you with us. I will now pass the floor over to my colleague, Professor Hilary Bell, who is the JD coordinator, and as I said earlier, the Assistant Dean for Student Affairs. I wish you the best success in the rest of this open house, because I actually have to go back and work with our students this evening on
Hello, good
teaching.
evening. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much. Good luck, Professor Bell, and everybody else. Thank you.
So thank you for joining us this evening. As Dean Susan has introduced, I am the Assistant Dean for Students. So when you join us in the college, you will no doubt be interacting with me regularly. You will also interact with me during the admissions process because, well, if you're applying for the JD, that is, I will head up admissions, and you can easily find my contact details on the website, maybe at the end of the session as well. Feel free to contact me with any questions, but also ask the questions in the chat today. Make sure you're asking questions that we can answer for you today. Next slide. So I want to give you some key information about the Juris Doctor degree. The Juris Doctor is the professional degree that we offer within the law school. And what do I mean by the professional degree? We will teach you the vocational skills that you need to work in the legal profession. This is the degree that would allow you to qualify to practice law. There are other requirements in all jurisdictions. There are more requirements than simply having a law degree, but to become a practicing lawyer, this is the initial law degree that you would need. Now, some of you ask about the JD and say, but I have no experience, I have no background in law. The JD is specifically designed that you would come in with no experience in law, and we will teach you the foundational subjects. We will then take you to advance your skills with this foundational knowledge, and finally to develop expertise in key subjects. Now you can see on the right hand side of the screen some of the subjects that we cover that are very relevant to Qatar. So we teach construction and infrastructure development law. I teach that course alongside my colleague Cal Locke. I practiced as a construction disputes lawyer in Doha with an international firm. We teach energy law, which what could be more relevant in Doha than oil and gas law? We teach healthcare law, human rights law, international economic law, media law and sports law, alongside all of the traditional building block courses, contract law, torts, property, civil procedure. Now, alongside your studies, you will have lots of opportunities to take part in extracurricular activities. As Dean Susan mentioned, I coach the moot court teams. We usually take part in 2 competitions each year. This year we won the Dubai International Financial Centre's Space Law Moot Court. 2 years ago, we won the Cryptocurrency Moot Court at DIFC, and we're very proud of our team's success in international competitions. You would also have the opportunity to take part in internships with law firms or other international institutions if that's something that you would be interested in. If you have any questions at all about the Juris Doctor, please ask in the chat and I will answer these for you later in the discussion. Thank you.
Sorry, Khaled, I think you're on mute.
Sorry, I'd like to thank Dean Susan for her insightful thought about our society. I'd like also to thank Professor Hillary to what she talked about Juris Doctor program, which is the first program I joined the College of Law, which hooked me up to even go further with the SGD's program. Now I'd like to invite Professor Fatma and Professor Kahinder to tell us more about the LLM and SGD's program.
Thank you, Khaled. I'm just double checking. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, sound fine.
Okay, great. Okay, I have a little bit of a technical problem in that I can't actually see the slides, but I'm sure that's fine. So let me just introduce myself. My name is Dr. Fatma Adash. I've been at HBKU Law for just over a year now, and I'm directing the LLM in International Law and Foreign Affairs. So this program is essentially a one-year program. It's a master's in law, so hence the LLM. And the focus is very much on, the intersection between law and international relations, essentially. Given Qatar's unique global position in the world, given the emphasis on mediation, on respecting international humanitarian law, on building international peace and security, this is, a really wonderful and fantastic place to study international law further and to develop expertise at that intersection, as I said, between international law and foreign affairs. So it's a one-year program with 32 credits overall, including uniquely 6 credits for the LLM thesis, which is kind of a major component of our LLM program. But before we get on to the thesis, you will be required to study a number of kind of core foundational modules, including research methods in law, advanced human rights, global legal ethics, international law, and administrative law. And then you will also be offered a number of optional courses that you can select, including, very diverse offerings such as media and cultural law, sports law, as well as environmental law, global economic law and governance, and so forth. As I mentioned earlier, a key part of the LLM in international law and foreign affairs, as well as our other LLM as well, is the thesis, where you will be allowed to kind of really and encouraged to delve in deeply into one aspect of international law and foreign affairs that particularly interests you, and to really develop kind of your voice and your expertise in that area to make policy recommendations. And many of our students have written fantastic dissertations, and they've gone on to use them for proposals for PhD projects. They've even gone on to publish them as academic articles as well. In terms of funding for the LLM in international law and foreign affairs, our students are, funded themselves. So it would be expected that you would be able to fund yourself. And the program is also not, one of the unique things is that it's not strictly only for lawyers or people with a law degree. So we have students who have undertaken various degrees in the past, including journalism, including international relations, and even one student who's done aerospace engineering. And on that note, I'd like to hand over to my colleague, Professor Kehinde, who is going to talk to you about our second LLM program. Kehinde?
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. We're very pleased that you can join us this evening. So I will be speaking very briefly about the LLM in international economic and business law. So my name is Kehinde Olaoye, and I am the coordinator. As we all know, we live in an increasingly globalized world in which economic activity and commerce is very interconnected across borders. From the digital economy to sustainable finance to foreign investment and trade, it is very, very clear that we need sophisticated lawyers and professionals who can deal with complex transnational problems. The LLM at HBKU is designed for this purpose. It's a one-year program, and unlike the other program which my colleague has just spoken about, which is the LLM in foreign affairs and international law, this requires that you have a law background. So it's 32 credits. And we have, a very, very interesting array of courses, including research methods in law, commercial law, international arbitration, economic governance, advanced dispute resolution, and energy law. And allow me to please announce proudly that one of our colleagues, Professor Dimitropoulos, has recently been awarded the chair under the World Trade Organization Chairs Program, and that this, program will permit us to sponsor one student next year. So this is very, very good news. But for all other candidates, the LLM is fully funded by students. Also, we have, new developments. So we have the Trade Lab. So in addition to some of the courses I have mentioned, we also have the Trade Lab, which is going to be run in conjunction with Georgetown, Qatar. And basically, this is a legal lab, which is, a legal clinic, which allows students to work on real-life problems, real-life economic problems with real clients. So very, very exciting stuff happening here at HBKU. And we really, really hope you can join us. Please feel free to send me an email. Please feel free to send our colleagues emails if you have any questions about the program. But also, please actively use the question and answer box, which is on the chat, to ask us questions. We hope you can join us, and we hope you can join our community of exciting research. Thank you.
Fatma Kahinde, would you like to proceed with the
Yes.
SJD?
Oh yes, so I can take that over. Sorry, I thought there was going to be a bit of an introduction, but that's fine. So allow me to step in the shoes of my colleague, Dr. George Diamitropoulos, who wasn't able to be here with us today, to kind of introduce you to our unique SJD program, or Doctor of Juridical Sciences. As Dean Susan mentioned, this is the first kind of program of this nature that's being offered in Qatar, and I believe in the whole of the GCC. And it's the equivalent of a PhD in law, essentially. It's a 3.5-year program, and it's a very research-intensive program. So the idea of the program is to equip you to be able to kind of master theoretical and methodological tools that will enable you to conduct rigorous, world-renowned legal scholarship. You will be required essentially to write a thesis of up to 100,000 words that is making a substantial and original contribution to an area of legal scholarship. One of the things that we require is that your scholarship essentially, or your PhD, is of what we call publishable quality, and that's where the originality aspect features in. We have, sort of a limited number of partial tuition waivers. So they're not full, scholarships. They're more tuition waivers of up to 80%. And there's a little bit, there's probably, we're going to say a little bit more about funding later on. And the program assigns you to 2 supervisors, but you mostly closely work with one who is an absolute expert in the field. You'll work very closely with them. In your first year, you will need to attend and some courses and undertake some examinations. But after that, you are pretty much left to your own devices in terms of working on your own research, writing your dissertation, but also publishing at least 2 works, at least 2 articles, and that is going to really help you furnish your academic CV for future academic endeavors. I'd just like to reiterate what my colleagues have said. If any of you have any questions about the LLM in International Law and Foreign Affairs, or about the SJD, please feel free to ask in the Q&A and to email me if that will help you later on. Thank you.
Hi, there's some important contact information on the screen. You have the Executive Assistant Nisha Dougal, who I would recommend contacting with any questions about the JD. If you have questions about the SJD or either LLM programme, please contact the wonderful Sanjay Amonis, and the contact details are on the screen.
Thank you, Professor Hilary, and thank you, Professor Fatma. Thank you, Professor Kahinda, for the information. I'd like now to invite the admission representative, Mrs. Sabiha Durrani, to provide us with overview of the admissions process.
Thank you so much, everyone. Good evening. I'm delighted to guide you through the process of admission for College of Law. Our goal is to make this journey seamless and transparent for prospective students who aspire to join our world-class programs. I will cover the key requirements, applications, and application steps, and some important dates to ensure that all the information is that you need for the admission steps. First of all, the admission requirements for the College of Law vary by program. For the Juris Doctor, applicants must hold a bachelor degree in any field with a minimum of 3.0 on a 4.0 scale. The LLM in International Economics and Business Law requires an LLB or JD degree with a GPA of 3.0. Of course, with the preference given to students who achieve 3.3 or higher. Similarly, the LLM in International Law and Foreign Affairs accepts applicants with bachelor degrees in areas such as law, political science, and economics. And we also give the priority for those who has a GPA of 3.3 and above. The Doctor of Juridical Science SGD program is designed for those who holding a JD or LLM degree, preferably who graduated from Hamad bin Khalifa University with a GPA of 3.3. The application process is straightforward and conducted online. If you can see the link, it's appeared on the screen. We will request all the applicants to submit academic transcript and English proficiency, IELTS or TOEFL, personal statement, a copy of their passport and ID. Sorry, a copy of their ID and updated CV. We will be requesting students to submit two recommendation letters. One must be from academic referee. For LLM and SGD program, a research proposal is required. So applicants must prepare a research proposal, and those who will not be submitting the research proposal, their application will not be accepted. Finally, we will have application fee, which is 250 Qatari riyals. So as you can see, the dates are shown on the slides. These are dates for the admission application deadline for an international applicant will be on 2nd of Feb. And the admission deadline for Qatari and resident applicants who wish to apply for funding will be on 13th of March. Late admission application deadline for Qatari and resident applicants will be on 1st of May. We have put some contact details on the slide. If there are any further information, you guys are like, if you have any questions related to the admission, you guys you can contact us through our email admission.cl@hbku.edu.qa. For general inquiries, you can contact us on College of Law at HBKU email. Thank you so much. And if you have any question, feel free to ask in the chat box. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sabiha. Thank you for this insightful information. Now, if you excuse us, we will now share with you the following video to provide you with the insightful into our students' life.
قسم المشاركة الطلابية في إدارة شؤون الطلاب هو أحد الأقسام الداعمة للطلاب في جامعة حمد بن خليفة، والذي يسهم بشكل كبير في دعم الطلاب وإشراكهم وإخراطهم في الأنشطة غير الأكاديمية. هناك أنشطة رياضية، هناك أنشطة ثقافية، هناك أنشطة تعليمية، جميعها تكون خارج المنهج التعليمي، ولكن كلها يصب في النهاية نتائجها تصب في النتيجة التعليمية لكل طالب.
كل سنة الفرق عندنا عددها يكثر. عندنا لحد الآن 6 فرق رياضية، فريق كرة قدم فئة بنين، فريق كرة سلة فئة بنين وبنات، فريق كرة طائرة بنين وبنات، وعندي فريق فئة شباب كريكت.
احنا طبعا نتواصل في إدارة شؤون الطلاب من خلال إدارة التواصل المجتمعي وشؤون الطلاب مع الجامعات الشريكة الموجودة في قطر فاونديشن من خلال ما يسمى بالكارير سيرفيسز اللي هو الخدمات المهنية. قمنا في السابق في موضوع اللي هو المعرض المهني كارير فير. أيضا عملنا في السابق برنامج كان لقادة المجتمع، دعينا فيه معظم رؤساء الشركات وأيضا بعض الوزراء مثل التعرف على الجامعة وتعريفهم ببرامج الجامعة اللي تطرحها.
احنا في إدارة شؤون الطلاب نهتم خاصة في ناحية العلاقات المجتمعية كتوقيع اتفاقيات، كزيارة الشركات الخاصة والغير خاصة للتعريف عن جامعة حمد بن خليفة، وتواصل إلى اتفاقيات من ناحية توفير فرص للطلاب أو للخريجين، أو أنك إلى شركات أو القطاع الخاص عندهم مثلا وجهات نظر كالتعاون، ممكن احنا نخدمها تحت إطار اتفاقية أو تحت إطار اللي هو تعاون مشترك ويانا.
This video conclude our session. Now we will go through your questions on the shared Q&A. First, I'll start with Mr. Alam. He's saying good evening, everybody. I wanted to ask you if my college degree was fair, but I had a vocational diploma from Cairo University in the field of conflict resolution. Does this allow me to apply for MA program? Kindly also know that I have about 20 years experience in media. I'm interested in international humanitarian law and looking forward for continuing till the PhD. And he's also asking a question that, is it possible to complete his course in 2 years? I think this is for Professor Fatma, please.
Yes, hi. So unfortunately, as of now, as of yet, our program is only a 1-year program. We're talking about maybe potentially making it a 2-year program, but no, the question sadly is no. It would depend on, with regards to the vocational diploma, it would really depend on what that is exactly, and it would depend on other factors too. So I'd encourage the potential applicant to reach out to us, to either Sandia or to myself, and we will be able to kind of get a little bit more information to be able to give you proper advice.
Thank you, Professor Fatma. I think this question for you, Professor Hillary. Ms. Ghada, she's asking, is the degree equivalent to PhD? And I remember that she posed the questions after your JD's introduction has been broadcast.
Not really sure how to answer the question because I don't know what the context is. In what sense would it be equivalent to a JD? It's a professional doctorate. It's not a research degree, which would be a PhD. It is a doctorate, but a professional doctorate, like a medical doctorate. So I'm not sure for what purpose. Obviously, if you need a PhD for a research degree for a position, this would not be considered the equivalent because it's not a research degree. If you were looking to enter academia, for example, in the US, there's no difference made in academia between having a JD and a PhD in legal education. So I think I'd need a bit more context for the question to answer that. I hope that has answered it in some way.
I think fair enough. Ms. Priscilla, she's asking, good evening, everybody, and thank you for the presentation. Regarding the LLM on international law and foreign affairs, I'd like to ask the following occupational prospect. Are there typical career path or employee in Qatar or open to non-Qataris national like herself? Internship network, could you provide information about the network or institutions where students typically undertake internship as part of the program? Again, Professor Fatma, please.
Yes. So thank you for the question. It's a good question. So let me, it requires a bit of throat clearing, let's say. So as of yet, we don't have an official kind of internship program integrated into the LLM. And I don't think we have plans to do that yet. We might in the future. So there isn't kind of an internship component to the LLM, if that was the question, as I understood. We do, as HBKU, we have extensive networks with most of the employers in this country, but that doesn't mean that we kind of facilitate a career for you afterwards. We'll definitely help as much as we can in that, but that's something that you kind of take on yourself, and really it's what you make of it. So some of our students have gone on to do incredible things because of their own kind of initiative that they've taken on. So it really depends on you and your proactivism here.
Thank you, Professor Fatma.
Can I please just add, something, to that? So, you know,
Please.
and my colleague is very right on that, you know, but I would also add that we have a new course, which I think is part of the JD, which is an internship program. But the good thing is, even though this is not embedded within the LLM, we have a structure and we have, you know, these extensive networks, and we're here to support you. You know, many of, you know, our students have gone on into these international organizations, you know, locally and internationally. So, you know, we have the support system. It's just that it's not a component, you know, so it's not a requirement, for example, for graduation, but we do have, you know, these networks in place. So, you know, you're welcome. And, you know, if you have more questions, you can, you know, always, you know, ask us. Thank you.
Yeah, and just to add, I mean, to add to that, particularly when it comes to international law and foreign affairs, as I mentioned, you know, at the start of the presentation, Qatar is, you know, in a uniquely placed when it comes to international affairs, and many international organizations have offices and even headquarters here. So that is definitely something that is a bonus to study, and it's a small country, so there are really close networks and links between us and these organizations. And obviously you're welcome to pursue that. But just to echo and reiterate what Kahinde was saying, it's not an official part of our program, although it might be in the future. But just because that's not the case doesn't mean that that isn't something that we support. We definitely do support.
Thank you, Professor Fatma. Thank you, Professor Kahenda. Ms. Farah, she's asking, is the Economic and Business Law program not including the university scholarship? And does the international scholarship have a specific deadline for application? Finally, how can I take more details about the scholarship? I think this is part of it with Professor Kahenda and part of it with Professor Administrative. Yeah, you can
Yes.
start, please.
Absolutely. So thank you very much for this question. So it's not, you know, this is, you know, an HBKU scholarship, but it's not, you know, it's funded by, you know, an external institution, which is the World Trade Organization. So the World Trade Organization, which is, you know, an international organization, is, you know, the main partner for this. So approval has, you know, is in place, but, you know, we're going to roll out, you know, and announce officially later on. And of course, you will receive, you know, information on this. So please watch out, you know, but no, this is not administered. Of course, HBK is part of it, but this is, you know, funding from the World Trade Organization. So because of this, of course, international organizations, there has to be, you know, a lot of processing, you know, and, you know, it's going to take some time, but the scholarship will be launched, you know, for the next academic year. So please watch out, and, you know, hopefully you can, and of course, you know, if you're in contact by email, we can always send you a follow-up email, you know, when, you know, it's officially launched. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mahdi is asking, I have completed a master's degree at Sorbonne in France, and it means he speaks French, and I have been working in Qatar for more than 5 years in international companies. Is the IELTS still mandatory? His second question, what about attendees? I have not found this info in the website. Do we have classes every day? Finally, from what, and of course also he's asking about the timing, and is it possible to have a look at the current coherent calendar? And he thanks all the panelists in advance.
I think I can answer part of that question. I'm not sure if I can answer the IELTS requirements. I think that might be for admissions. But for in terms of attendance, at the moment for the LLM in International Law and Foreign Affairs, our students attend 4 days a week, and they attend from 4 in the evening to 8 in the evening classes. So it's quite packed. It's almost every day, and you have to attend. We don't have sort of online classes or anything like that. So yeah, it's from 4 to 8. And I'm not sure what you mean by, is it possible to look at the calendar? Do you mean timetable? Maybe Santia could answer that part.
Yes, sure. He can email me and I can share a schedule for the upcoming semester and the fall, which is currently happening, and he can have a look at it.
Yeah, and I can answer the admission part, which is about the IELTS. In your case, Mr. Mahdi, you need to provide us with IELTS since you have studied your bachelor in French, and we will request that you provide us with IELTS or a 6.5 or TOEFL 79. Thank you.
Thank you. I think you also answered the next question in advance with what exactly are the cases for exemption for IELTS and what is the minimum score should we have to apply for our program? Ms. Sabiha again.
Yes, for exemption, we will, in case if the student has studied bachelor degree or he's planning to take second master, his first master was in English, he needs to provide us with a letter from the university stating that the medium instruction was in English. And also, like, that's it. Like, the letter is the most important thing.
Thank you. I think Ghada is a bit not clear, but when will the program start? I think Professor Hillary, could you help us with these questions? When will the program
I would
start?
guess it's going to be on the 25th of August or whatever the Sunday is in the last week of August. It's usually then. I have no reason to believe it will be different this year.
Mr. Samet is asking, good evening, everyone, and I'd like to ask about the account to which we should transfer the application fee for the PhD program. I hope he meant that by PhD program, he meant the SGD. Also, he said that I have looked through the website but couldn't find the clear information regarding this matter. I would appreciate your assistance. Ms. Sabiha?
Yes, I'm gonna paste a link for the website where they mention the bank transfer details for the payment. We unfortunately we don't have like a specific link for visa payment. We only have bank transfer. If they can use the link I have pasted in the chat box, just copy paste it in Google, and then you will get the website directed to the admission fee payment.
Mr. Sultan, he's saying hello. I'm currently working at the Criminal Court Supreme Judiciary Council of Qatar and hold a bachelor degree in business administration. I'm very interested in joining the LLMs in international law and foreign affairs. Does our college accept non-lawyers or applicants without an undergraduate degree in law?
Yes, we do. We do accept. That's a firm yes. As long as you also meet our language requirements, the IELTS requirements, that should be fine.
Okay. Does completing, Ms. Ghada again, does completing a JD entitle you to the title of doctor, and does it raise to the rank of career ladder? I think the first part will be answered by Professor Hillary, and the second part, if you allow me, I'd like to answer the questions.
So what I would say, it would be more usual to take the title Esquire with a Juris Doctor. That would be the more traditional route. What I would say regarding the career ladder, just my understanding from several of our graduates is that in many of the Q organisations, it is recognised as the equivalent of a doctorate for promotion purposes within the organisation, but that will be up to your organisation. A number of the Q companies do recognise it, but I can't speak for what a Q company is going to do next year. So I hope that's helpful.
To the second part, I will not talk about ranking, but I would like to tell you that it is a career shift. As everybody knows that I am an architect in profession. I'm still working in the construction field, but of course I was more of a construction managers, project manager, working in the real hardcore of construction. But after I got my degree, I become contract manager. I become a legal guy in the construction industry, and I'm so proud of myself. And also the way I'm pitching it is I have both degrees, I have both skills. I have the engineering skills as well as I have the legal knowledge, not only by experience, but legal knowledge and understand the insightful how to really read a contract, how to really understand the law, how to apply it, how to use IRAC in a proper way. So all these skills you need to really to learn about it. And I think this is real. It's not only career shifting, it's really, put you in a very unique place that not everybody has. Most of the people, they continue their degrees in the same course. He become engineer, he took a master, he become a PhD in construction or PhD in engineering. Similar in any field. If you are accountant, you do your master, then you go all this professional like CFA, CMA, and all this stuff. But when you go to JD, it's totally different. You really grasp two different professions in your hand, and you become a kind of hybrid person that can really be fit in any place. You can be the legal guy when they need you, and they always will need you. And you can be also in your profession, you can always be that person that they always count on you. So I really encourage all of you to look at it, that if not only elevate you in your career, it will really could make a big shift, not entirely away from your field, but at least give you this, unique position that everybody will look you differently. And that is true. Sorry, I'm sharing my personal, but I really wanted you to know that it really affects, it really has its impact. And I think I hope I present one of the good examples of how JD can really change your life. So I'll go now for the next questions. Admission fees payment, Hamad bin Khalif, I think Ms. Sabiha, she's answered it. Finally, I think I can't read his name, sorry. I'm interested in international business and finance law master. What are the requirements I need to apply for the scholarship? I think, Mr. Kahinda, you have to repeat yourself with regard to the scholarship issue.
Okay, so thank you for your question. So again, please note that almost all our students are self-financed. However, we're rolling out one scholarship which will be launched in the new session, in the new academic year. And so, this, it's in partnership with the World Trade Organization. So we're still putting the formalities in place, but, you will receive a notice and, it will be widely advertised. Of course, if you're in contact by email, we can always send you an email, but the first thing is to apply. So the first thing, of course, is to apply for, the HBKU, to apply, for the HBKU program. But please, send us an email, if you have more questions. Thank you. I think there are some other questions that we may have missed, earlier on.
Yes, she's asking how many students typically enrolled in LLM, International Law and Foreign Affairs. Sorry for that.
Yeah, so I would say around yearly around 13 students.
Okay, until we receive the next question, I'd like to ask Professor Harry about the non-academic activities that our college encourage students, such as the moot court and the experience in moot court, where exactly usually, the experience, the skills they learn, and where they usually participate. Is it international? It is regional? How really students can really enhance their academic and their experience in life through the moot courts.
What I will say is every single HBKU graduate who has been accepted to a prestigious law school for an LLM after the JD, every single one of them did moot court. I do not believe it's a coincidence. I do believe it's a selection criteria from especially the US law schools look for people to have taken part in a prestigious international moot court competition. Every year we field a team in the Viz International Commercial Arbitration Competition, which is an international competition. I think, say approximately 350 teams participate from all around the world in the Viz competition. We take part in the European rounds in Vienna in April of each year. We usually take part in a regional pre-moot. We work closely with a consortium of universities in the MENA region coordinated through Pitt Law School and the wonderful Ron Brand, and in association with the US State Department's Rule of Law programme to extend the understanding of arbitration and commercial law around the world. I have been working with that team for 11 years, and I have seen students that I've coached in the, for example, in the Iraq team now as government advisors 2 years ago writing the Iraqi arbitration law. So we work closely with these people and have kept in touch with this network, and all our students benefit from that. We also take part in a number of regional competitions. I have to be honest, this is mostly against my will. I am held captive by the students who force me to take part in the regional competitions. I beg them for us not to do it, but we have had great success. As I said earlier, we've won 2 of the Dubai competitions. We came second in the Amity client counselling competition. We made the quarterfinals of DLA Piper, coming up against some of the biggest universities in the UK, all fielding 2 teams, Oxford, York, London universities, Trinity, Dublin, and we were the only university to get 2 teams into the quarterfinals. We're very proud of our success in the moot court. We've genuinely got quite a reputation now for doing well in these competitions. There's an opportunity to travel, but what you will learn is how to create legal arguments and deal with situations in real time. You will be questioned by arbitrators in the moment, questions that you could not have anticipated, and you will learn how to create legal arguments on the spot. The experience is second to none, in my opinion.
Well, I think I'll join you again with the moot court. I think again, it's a follow-up for the previous questions regarding the requirement for to apply for scholarship. He's asking, do I need an experience to join the program of International Business and Finance Law Master Program? Ms. Kahinda?
So thank you for that question. No, it's not, it's not an admission requirement to have, work experience. And of course, work experience is relative, any experience is welcome, I mean, we all learn every day. So it's not a requirement, but, any experience is welcome. There's a question by Priscilla, which I think we missed in the chat box. And she asks if we have connections to UN offices in Qatar. So this is the question. I'm not very sure the context in which that question is being asked, but as we've yes, please.
Sorry to interrupt, Candy. I think that was within the context of asking about the internships and the connections and networks. And yeah, we do have connections with them. Yes, absolutely, is the answer.
Priscilla is asking, what is the international recognition status for the LLM in international foreign affairs?
I'm not really sure. I think I understand that question. I don't really know what do you mean, the recognition status? Is it an accredited LLM? Yes, the answer is yes, it is. But I don't know what else she's asking.
I will just add that, in the recent rankings that HBKU, has performed really, really well. So, our program is well recognized. The university, the College of Law, is well recognized in the region, and around the world. But like every program, it's what you do with your program. We've had students who have done, extremely well. Our job is to support you. Our job is to, make sure that you can achieve your dreams. And so I think this is, of course, ranking is important, the numbers are just numbers, but, we're accredited and, we're also, highly ranked in the international rankings.
Thank you. Mr. Submit is repeating the question, does completing the Juris Doctor program grant the title of doctor? And he's asked also, may I kindly ask how many students are admitted to the PhD's program? He means now SGD's program each year. So could Professor Hillary repeat the answer again for Mr. Samit regarding does completing the Juris Doctor program grant the title of doctor?
So I have already answered the question that usually you would take the title Esquire. I'm not sure from what authority who would issue the judgment on whether you would call yourself doctor from the jury. I'm not sure what answer is being sought. As I've said, it would be typical to take the title Esquire. I'm not sure what institution in the world would determine the answer to this question. So I don't feel I can offer another answer. Maybe if anyone else wants to add to that.
I would just add that it would be very unusual if you did your JD and then referred to yourself as a doctor. It would be very unusual.
He's also asking how many students commonly admitted for the SGDs program each year.
Yeah, I can answer that question as well. It's varied, it depends every year on how many applicants we have and the availability of supervisors and so forth. But for example, from this cohort, there's been 4 students. The year before, also 4 students. So it's usually within that range. And I think, Khalid, you can also answer that question, given that you're in the SJD program.
Commonly, we are 4 students are admitted for the SGDs program. I can fairly say that. Commonly 4 students only. As Professor Fatma said, and I think it's implied by our faculty that the SGD program is a very rigorous program which need much dedications. And as usual, we students apply for SGD program goes through a very meticulous observations and interviews, and your SGD's proposal has to be well written, and so there are many criteria for students to get admission for SGD program. Therefore, commonly the number of students accepted in the program is very limited. Reem is asking, she said, I studied in a QF university. Do I need the exemption letter? Also, Ms. Professor Hillary, the JD program, she wants to know how many number of classes taken by students per week. Generally,
okay.
The course
so
load
regarding the exemption, if you did your degree in English at one of the QF universities, then providing a letter from the university confirming that would be sufficient for the exemption. Sorry, Sabia, for taking one of your questions. You can correct me if I'm wrong on that.
Yeah, you can continue.
It's an 85 credit course, the JD, so the classes are effectively full-time. You would take classes from Sunday through Wednesday, 4 days a week, 4 p.m. till 8 p.m. In the first semester, you would have Thursday classes as well. That said, the majority of our students do work full-time in addition to doing the JD. I think you have to be mad crazy to study law, so you would also have to be somewhat crazy to take on full-time studies on top of a full-time degree and family life. And yet every year we have a full cohort of JD students who take on this challenge and thrive.
So true. I'd like also to just highlight something from my own experience, that through the JD program and SGD program and the LLM, it's not individual societies. Basically, we work together. You find in some of your JD's classes students from LLM, international law, or from business side. They also you work together for them in many classes, such as international law and international business law that you studied together. Similarly, the SGD's program, they work closely with LLM students. They work closely in their shaping their thesis. So basically, you're not just doing your research, but also the course prepare you to go into the academic field through, of course, the papers you need to publish, how really to be, you also get insight about the academic life, how to really monitor your fellow students, how to work with them closely. So basically, yes, it seems that there are 4 programs, but in the end of the day, you'll find yourself that you all join the same classes for different purposes, and you all share your knowledge. So that's it. And one of the most important thing about the SGD's program is the curriculum. And I don't think we give it really fair credit. The curriculum is, of course, there are two types of it. It is called Al-Majlis, which is that's sponsored by our faculty, that they make each, from time to time, they invite one of the prominent scholars or prominent guys in the field of law, or maybe some international recognized persons. They sit with the students, they start to chat with them, share with them their experience, or give them lectures about the most important events in life, or and of course in the world. And I remember that we attended many, and also of course the UNESCO's, they also they, I think, held last year, they made their conference in our university, sponsored by our Professor Damilola. So really you go into that international exposure with this international figures, as well as, of course, there's a curriculum within the student of SGD where you also join together, you start to share ideas, share your thoughts, share your research. You also invite international people or your fellow students. So this kind of academic life, I don't think you can see it anywhere except in our program, where you find that the whole university push you in such a way that really to be more involved and to be more engaged with law. So it's not only classes that you attend, as you see that the moot court also take you to international stage. You also find the curriculum also expose you with the international figures, and you see how they really thought, how they really develop their ideas, their arguments. You can also get in touch with them and interact with them. On the student's life, you also share with your fellow students, even from your faculty or from other faculties. So I think this is one of the advantages you will learn. You'll not only improve academically, but also your personality, your exposure will also enhance. I think we have also questions. Where can I find guidelines on how to structure the research proposal for the LLM and on ILFA, international law? Professor Fatima?
If I'm not mistaken, I think Santia can correct me. I think that's on our website. There's kind of detailed information on how to structure the proposal. Is that correct, Santia?
No, I don't think there is anything on the website yet. So yeah,
sorry.
Just give a brief outline how they can go about it.
Okay, I mean, it's not something that's, majorly comprehensive. So you would need, something like a working title with, a few, maybe 200-300 words of, what the research aims to do, a little bit, maybe a little bit about kind of what methodology you use. So it's not, it's not in any way advanced, I would say, because we understand that this is a research project that you would want to conduct. The other thing I want to emphasize as well is that even if you submit to us a certain research proposal for your LLM application, you can change that once you are admitted and you start. We are very flexible, so it's not that you are going to be held to it as a commitment. We, you might change your mind. You might feel like this isn't the research that you want to do. You might have something else that you, come across in your LLM studies that really interests you. So it's flexible, and you're on your first semester of the LLM. Whether you are doing the ILFA or you're doing the Gehende's program on business and international business and economic law, you take a class called Research Methods in Law, which actually coincidentally I teach, which is entirely dedicated to developing your thesis. So there's a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of guidance given to you regarding the thesis project. So it's not something to, overly fixate on, I would say, at this stage.
I think we still have some time for any questions from the audience. So Professor Fatima and Professor Kahenda, would you just tell us a bit more about the thesis that I know you cannot go into details, but the variety of topics that you see with the students of LLM, and what type of interest that you find that it's become more of, interesting for the students of LLM, and how you feel that these topics will really enhance their professional as well as their academic life? Please.
Well, Khalid, this is a really, really good question, because there is a huge variety. We have some students investigating the legal implementation of the Qatar 2030 vision, for example, in its economic and human development aspects. And then on the other hand, we have students investigating the ethical and legal questions posed by blockades. One topic that is very important at the moment, and that's understandable on everyone's mind, is international law and the situation in Palestine and Gaza. We have a number of students looking at this from very different perspectives. Some looking at it from international humanitarian law, some looking at it from international human rights law, some looking at it from mediation. So we have, as I said, a huge variety. But if there was a trend, I would say it's the focus on Palestine, given national and international events.
Professor Kahinda, please.
So thank you. Yeah, I'll just echo, what my colleague has said. We have, students doing very, very interesting, topics, extremely interesting, I would say. And of course, I'll just, add that the beautiful thing is, yes, you have to submit, a proposal, but it's also very interesting to see how students, evolve. So they start the classes, they do Professor Fatima's class, and their ideas change, they come into the program. But, this is part of the process. And, it's the student, it's student-driven, very, very student-driven. But you have, supervisors who also know a lot about the subject. So, this, means that obviously, so for example, I have a student who came in wanting to, write about, something else, but now he's writing on, a comparison of, the foreign investment law in Qatar and Singapore and, Saudi Arabia. So those, and those topics, are very timely because, you get to deal with, interesting issues. But of course, the important thing will be, it's important that your thesis is related to the program that you're, getting your, dissertation in. So for example, if your dissertation is in international economic law and business law, then ideally your topic should be related to international economic law and, business law.
Thank you, Professor Kahinda. Thank you, Professor Fatma. Kahinda is asking, I don't know if we can really answer her. She need to present an example. She wants us to present an example of the syllabus as of one of the courses. I don't know, is this possible?
I mean, I don't know, I can't speak on behalf of my other colleagues, but I would say like a verbal syllabus is very hard to do at the moment. Is there something a little bit more specific that you might want to ask us that we might be able to help you with, Ghada?
I'll just add, that, so we have course descriptions, so you can see some of the courses, and, our courses are designed to meet, so they evolve with the trends, the syllabuses are renewed, every year, they're revised every year. Of course, it depends on the course. So, for example, I would speak, let's say, about global economy. So if you are going to take a course on the legal foundations of the global economy, you will have a course which is introductory. You also have, classes where you explore issues of trade, foreign investment, issues with sanctions, economic sanctions. But so these are seminar courses, right? So you have, this, and then you have readings, you have required readings, and then of course you have assessments. And, these assessments are part of. So, that's typically what the syllabus will look like. The only difference is, of course, you will have learning outcomes and, readings. But, I think that is pretty much it. But every course is unique. Every class is unique. For example, with the trade lab, it's very, very different. With the trade lab, it's a clinic. So with the trade lab, basically you have, supervisors and you have clients who you work with. And you have to have your assessment basically will be a presentation to your client, who typically could be a ministry or a developing country. So the syllabus, of every syllabus is unique and distinct, but I hope that sort of gives you, an overview of how detailed, our courses are.
Professor Henry, could you give us insight about what exactly students expect when they join the GED program? I mean, is it similar to the, let's say, the conventional type where you take one course devoted for a certain legal system, or means how the GED program's syllabus and the program itself differ from all other programs throughout the MENA, and how it's become unique for the students of
Sorry,
the
Khaled, I didn't hear the last part. So how does the JD differ from?
other school of law? I mean, in Doha, we have many schools
Well,
of
it's
law.
very
In the
similar in
MENA,
structure at the beginning to any law school, where you would start out with the foundational core courses of law, where you will learn contract law, tort law, property law, an introduction to global legal systems, and an introduction to legal analysis, writing, and research. So I would say from that point of view, that's pretty much what I did in my first year of law school back in 1996 in the UK, with the exception that in the UK, the legal skills courses, legal analysis, research, and writing would be taught as part of the postgraduate qualification. But I would say the structure of the degree, it's certainly very similar to the structure of any JD in the US. It's based on the US model and is similar to any law degree where you would take the foundational courses first. You need to understand how contracts work and how property law works before you can go on and study construction law, for example. You need to understand contract law before you can understand commercial law. You would need to understand how court systems work through civil procedure before you can go on and take a disputes course. So I think the structure is very similar to any initial law degree. And when I say an initial law degree, I mean a degree that's moving you towards eligibility to practice the profession of law.
and I think one of the most important things is also you learn the skills. I think one of the tools of the GED is the skills.
Contemporaneously, there are skills courses from the first, second, third, and fourth semester, and then in your third year, in all of those courses, skills are part of your assessment.
I don't know if we have more questions.
I think if anyone has further questions that they've not advanced at this stage, they can email them after the fact. I think perhaps people need a little time to digest the information that they've heard, think about things more deeply, and then feel free to email us and we will respond.
In that note, I think I should thank Professor Hilary. Thank you very much. Professor Fatma, thank you very much. Professor Kahinda, thank you very much. And of course, I'd like also to thank Ms. Sabiha for her help. Of course, many thanks to Ms. Afrah and Ms. Sandia for their help throughout this presentation. And I hope that we will look forward to see you all very soon and join our college, and see you later.
Thanks, Khaled. Good night. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Okay.